If you have money sitting in a bank account right now, checking, savings, or even a retirement account, there's something happening in 2026 that you need to hear before you do anything else with that money. This is not a scare tactic, and it is not one of those videos that tells you the sky is falling just to get your attention. What I am about to share is real, it is documented, and it affects almost every single person watching this who has worked hard for decades to build up savings, who depends on a pension, a 401k, or a Social Security deposit landing in their account every single month. Stick with me for the next several minutes because by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly what banks are doing differently this year, why some retirees are suddenly seeing holds on their accounts they have never seen before, and most importantly, the simple steps you can take today to make sure none of this ever happens to you. My name is on this channel for a reason. Retire's Guide exists because people like you deserve straight answers about your money without the jargon and without the runaround. So let's get into it. Banks have always had security measures. That part is not new. What is new in 2026 is how aggressive those measures have become and how often everyday account holders, especially people over the age of 60, are getting caught up in them simply for doing normal things with their own money. Banks are not doing this to be difficult. They are doing it because fraud against older Americans has exploded in the last few years, and the numbers are honestly staggering. Government tracking shows that Americans lost more than $12 billion to scams and fraud in a single recent year, and a huge share of that came from older adults specifically. Adults 70 and up lost a median of around $1,000 each in reported cases, and that is just the reported ones. Most experts agree the real number is far higher because so many people are embarrassed to come forward. Banks know this. Regulators know this. And so banks have rolled out new layers of fraud detection, new verification steps, and new monitoring systems that, frankly, were not in place even 3 or 4 years ago. The problem is, these systems do not know the difference between a criminal trying to drain your account and you simply trying to withdraw money for a home repair or send a larger transfer to a family member. To the bank's computer system, both can look the same. And that is exactly why so many honest, careful people are suddenly running into account restrictions, login lockouts, and verification requests they never had to deal with before. Let's talk about what this actually looks like in real life, because I want you to recognize these situations if they ever happen to you. Imagine you go to withdraw a larger sum of cash than you normally do, maybe for a car repair, a family emergency, or a gift to a grandchild. In years past, the teller might just hand you the cash. Today, many banks will pause that transaction, ask you additional questions, and in some cases place a temporary hold while they confirm the activity is legitimate. Another common scenario, you log into your online banking from a new device, maybe a new phone or a new computer your kid set up for you, and suddenly you are locked out until you verify your identity through a text code, an email link, or even a phone call to the bank. A third scenario, and this one catches a lot of retirees off guard, your direct deposit information needs to be updated or confirmed, whether that is your pension, your Social Security payment, or a retirement account distribution, and the bank or the agency sending that payment wants to re-verify your details before they will continue sending money to that account. None of these situations mean something is wrong with you or your account. They mean the system noticed something that fell outside of your normal pattern and wants to make sure it is really you before moving forward. The challenge is that if you do not know this is happening, or if you panic and respond the wrong way, you can end up creating a much bigger headache for yourself, and in some cases, you can actually become a target for scammers who specifically watch for confused account holders so they can swoop in pretending to help. This is where I need you to pay very close attention because the single biggest danger right now is not actually the bank's security system. It is the criminals who have figured out how to exploit it. Here is how this typically works. A scammer will contact you, often by phone, sometimes by text or email, and they will claim to be from your bank or from a government agency like the Social Security Administration. They will tell you there is a problem with your account, maybe a security alert, maybe a frozen deposit, maybe a claim that your benefits are at risk. They create urgency because urgency is the scammer's best friend. They want you to feel like you have to act immediately, before you have time to think it through or call someone you trust. Then they ask you to confirm personal information, your account number, your Social Security number, your date of birth, or they ask you to move money to a different account to keep it safe. Or they ask for a gift card or a wire transfer to resolve the supposed problem. I want you to hear this clearly and remember it for the rest of your life. Your bank will never call you and ask you to read back your full account number or your password. The Social Security Administration will never call you and demand immediate payment, never threaten you with arrest, and never ask you to pay a fee to release your benefits. If a real problem exists with your Social Security record, the agency communicates through official mail, not through a panicked phone call demanding instant action. Government agencies use what some experts call the 4 Ps of a scam, and I think this is worth committing to memory. They pretend to be someone official. They mention a prize or a problem to grab your attention. They apply pressure to make you act fast, and eventually they ask for payment in some form. Pretend, problem, pressure, payment. If a call or message hits even 2 or 3 of those, hang up, close the email, and do not respond. Now, I know some of you watching this are thinking, that's common sense. I would never fall for that. And I believe you, truly, but here's the uncomfortable truth. These scams are not designed to fool careless people. They are designed by professional criminal organizations that study human psychology, that know exactly which words create panic, that spoof caller ID so the number on your phone literally says it's your bank, or it says Social Security Administration, even though it is not. They can fake that. Your caller ID is not proof of anything anymore. These criminals have scripts written by people who have done this thousands of times, refined over and over to sound calm, professional, and completely believable. Some of them even know personal details about you already, your name, your address, sometimes even your bank's name, because that information has been leaked in data breaches over the years and sold on the dark web. So this is not about intelligence. It is about being caught off guard during the moment when your guard is down. Maybe you just woke up. Maybe you are dealing with a health issue. Maybe you are simply being a kind, trusting person, which most retirees are. That is not a weakness. It is a strength in every other part of life. The criminals just know how to use it against you, and that is exactly why we are talking about this today, so you walk away from this video more prepared than you were 10 minutes ago. Let's shift now to the legitimate side of all this, because I promised you practical steps, and I am going to deliver on that promise. The first thing every single person watching this should do, if you have not already, is make sure your contact information on file with your bank and with the Social Security Administration is completely current. That means your phone number, your mailing address, and your email. Why does this matter so much? Because when banks or government agencies need to reach you about something real, an actual security concern, a real verification step, they will use the contact information on file. If that information is outdated, you might miss an important notice, or worse, a fraud alert about your own account might go to an old address or an old phone number that is no longer yours. Updating this information takes maybe 10 minutes, either online through your bank's official website, by visiting a branch in person, or by calling the number printed on the back of your debit card. Never a number given to you by someone who contacted you first. Second, set up a My Social Security account directly on the official ssa.gov website if you have not already done so. This might sound technical, but it is one of the most powerful protective steps available to every Social Security recipient. Why? Because it lets you see your own benefit information, your payment history, and your direct deposit details at any time, which means you would immediately notice if anything changed without your permission. Criminals have, in past schemes, attempted to contact the Social Security Administration directly, pretending to be the beneficiary, and request that payments be rerouted to a different bank account entirely. If you have your own online account set up and you check it periodically, you create a safety net for yourself, because any unauthorized change becomes visible to you right away, instead of you finding out only when a payment fails to show up. Third, and this one is simple but incredibly effective, turn on multi-factor authentication everywhere it is offered. Your bank's app, your email, your Social Security account, anywhere you can. Multi-factor authentication just means that after you enter your password, the system sends a one-time code to your phone or email that you also have to enter. This one extra step blocks the vast majority of account takeover attempts, because even if a criminal somehow gets your password, they still cannot get into your account without that second code, which only goes to your device. If your bank or financial institution offers this and you have not turned it on yet, I would genuinely pause this video right now and do it, or at least make a note to do it the moment we finish. Fourth, get into the habit of checking your bank statements and your Social Security statements every single month, line by line if you can. I know this sounds tedious, but it does not have to take long, just a few minutes scanning for anything you do not recognize. The earlier fraud is caught, the easier it usually is to resolve, and the more likely you are to recover any funds that were taken. Waiting weeks or months to notice a problem makes everything harder, sometimes impossible. If you see something unfamiliar, even something small, call your bank directly using the number on your card or statement, not a number from a text message or email, and ask about it. Fifth, understand how your deposit insurance actually works, because this is something that brings real peace of mind once you know it. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, automatically insures deposits at member banks up to $250,000 per depositor, per bank, per ownership category. That coverage is automatic. You do not apply for it, you do not pay extra for it. It simply exists the moment you open an account at an FDIC-insured bank. And here is the part many people do not realize. You can actually extend that protection well beyond $250,000 at the very same bank simply by using different ownership categories. For example, an individual account, a joint account with a spouse, and a retirement account like an IRA are each treated as separate categories, which means a married couple could have well over $500,000 protected at a single institution just by structuring their accounts properly. If you are unsure whether your bank is FDIC insured, you can check using the FDIC's official bank find tool on fdic.gov, or simply look for the FDIC sign at your branch. Since the agency was created back in the 1930s, no depositor has ever lost a single penny of insured funds. That track record matters, and it should give you genuine confidence in keeping your money in a properly insured account rather than feeling pressured into moving it somewhere risky because of fear. I bring that last point up because there is a flip side to all this fraud awareness that I think does not get talked about enough. Sometimes when people hear about banking risks, they overcorrect. They start thinking about pulling large amounts of cash out of the bank entirely or moving everything into something unconventional that someone convinced them was safer. I want to gently caution you against that instinct. Cash sitting in a drawer or a safe at home has zero protection against theft, fire, or simply being lost over time, and it earns you nothing. A properly insured bank account, especially one where you have taken the basic protective steps we just covered, remains one of the safest places for your money, full stop. The goal here is not to fear the banking system. The goal is to understand it well enough that you can use it confidently and protect yourself within it. Let's talk for a moment about direct deposits specifically, because so many of you watching rely on a monthly deposit landing like clockwork, whether that is Social Security, a pension, or a retirement withdrawal. The shift toward electronic payments has been steady for years now, and the vast majority of beneficiaries already receive payments electronically rather than by paper check. This has real benefits: faster access to your money, no risk of a check getting lost or stolen out of a mailbox, and no waiting on mail delivery during bad weather or holidays. But it does mean your bank account information becomes more central to your financial life than it used to be, which is exactly why keeping that account secure matters so much. If you ever need to update your direct deposit information, whether because you switched banks or there was an error, always do this directly through the official Social Security website by calling Social Security's official number or by visiting an office in person. Never provide that information to anyone who contacts you first, claiming they need to fix or verify it. I also want to spend a moment on something that trips up a lot of people: the difference between your bank flagging something for your protection versus an actual scam contacting you. Here's a simple way to tell them apart. A legitimate bank security alert will typically never ask you to provide your full password, your full Social Security number, or a one-time verification code over the phone to someone who called you. If your bank does reach out because of unusual activity, they may ask you to confirm whether you made a specific purchase or transaction, a simple yes or no, and they will never pressure you to move money anywhere or to read back sensitive numbers. If at any point you feel uncertain whether a call or message is really from your bank, the safest move every single time is to hang up, and then call your bank back yourself using the number on your card or your statement. That way you know for certain you are speaking to the real institution, not someone pretending to be them. This single habit, hang up and call back yourself, is one of the most powerful protective tools available to you, and it costs nothing but a few extra minutes. Family also plays a bigger role in this than people often realize. If you have adult children or trusted family members, it can genuinely help to have an open conversation with them about your accounts, not necessarily giving them access or control, but simply letting them know your bank's name, roughly how your accounts are set up, and agreeing on a simple rule. If anyone, even someone claiming to be a family member in an emergency, asks you for money urgently or asks you to keep something secret from your loved ones, that itself is a major warning sign. Scammers often specifically tell victims not to tell anyone because they know that a second set of eyes, a spouse, a child, a close friend, is often what breaks the spell of a scam in progress. There is no shame whatsoever in picking up the phone and asking someone you trust, "Does this sound right to you?" before taking any action involving your money. In fact, that is exactly what financially savvy people do. I also want to address something specific to retirees and pensioners watching this, because your situation carries a particular kind of risk that younger account holders do not face in the same way. Many of you are living on a fixed income, which means if a fraud incident does occur and funds are temporarily frozen or delayed while a bank investigates, that disruption can hit your monthly budget harder than it would someone still actively earning a paycheck. This is precisely why the preventive steps we have talked about matter so much more for you than for the average younger account holder. It is not because you are more vulnerable as a person. It is because the financial cushion to absorb a temporary disruption is often smaller once you are relying on a fixed monthly amount. Knowing this, building in a small emergency buffer if you can, even a modest one set aside in a separate insured account, can provide real peace of mind in case anything ever does get delayed while a legitimate issue is sorted out. Let's also touch on something practical regarding those verification requests banks sometimes send. If your bank texts or emails you asking you to verify a recent transaction, the safest approach is to open your bank's official app directly, not by clicking any link in the message, and check your transaction history there. Most banks now show pending alerts directly inside the app, where you can approve or deny activity with a single tap, which is far safer than clicking a link embedded in a text or email, since links can be faked to look exactly like your bank's real website while actually sending your information straight to a criminal. If you do not have your bank's app set up on your phone, and you are comfortable doing so, it is genuinely one of the more secure ways to interact with your account these days, since it skips the email and text vulnerabilities almost entirely. By now you have heard quite a lot, so let's bring this together into something simple you can actually remember and use. Keep your contact information current with your bank and with Social Security. Set up your own official online account with Social Security so you can monitor it yourself. Turn on multi-factor authentication wherever it is offered. Check your statements regularly, every single month if you can. Understand that your deposits are insured up to $250,000 per ownership category, and that this protection extends further than most people realize if you structure your accounts thoughtfully. Never give out personal information, passwords, or verification codes to anyone who contacts you first. Hang up and call back using the number on your card whenever something feels off. And keep someone you trust in the loop about your general financial situation, not for control, but for protection. None of these steps require special technical skill, and none of them cost you anything beyond a little bit of your time, but together they put you miles ahead of where most people are, and they dramatically lower the odds that you will ever become a victim of the kinds of schemes we have talked about today. I started this video by telling you this is not meant to scare you, and I want to end on that same note, because that really is the whole point of this channel. Retire's Guide exists to give you real, usable information so that you can feel calm and in control of your own finances, not anxious about them. Banks tightening their security in 2026 is, in the bigger picture, actually a good thing. It means fewer successful scams, more protection for your money, and a system that is slowly catching up to the sophistication of modern fraud. The only real risk is not knowing how these changes might show up in your day-to-day banking, and now you do. You know what a legitimate verification step looks like versus a scam attempt. You know the exact words to listen for: pretend, problem, pressure, payment. You know how to protect your direct deposit. You know how your insurance coverage actually works. And you know the simple habits that keep you several steps ahead of anyone who might try to take advantage of you. If this video helped you feel more confident about your accounts, do me a favor and let me know in the comments. Tell me which tip stood out to you the most. Or if you have already had an experience with a bank verification or even a close call with a scam, share it below, because your story might be exactly what helps someone else watching recognize the warning signs in time. And if you have a parent, a neighbor, or a friend who you think needs to hear this, go ahead and share this video with them right now. It genuinely could save them a great deal of trouble, or even save their savings. Before you head off to your next video, if you are not subscribed to this channel yet, now is a great time to do that, because we cover exactly this kind of practical, no-nonsense financial guidance every single week, things that actually matter to your day-to-day life and your peace of mind in retirement. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications if you want to catch every new video the moment it goes live, and I will see you in the very next one, where we are going to dig into another topic that I think you are going to find just as valuable as this one. Take care of yourself, take care of your money, and I will talk to you soon.